everybody. Welcome back to This Week at MBE. It's Sunday night. Biggs and I were at the NMCA race in Norwalk, Ohio on Friday and Saturday. We drove home Saturday last night. And I just want to say I had a great time at the NMCA race. Very organized. That was good to see, and a lot of great racers. And we had a lot of MBE customers. So I think we had a few of them. I think we had 3 top mile an hours in the classes. We had 2 runner-ups. I think we had a #1 qualifier. So we did really, really good. The Big 9 stuff shined again, which was great. So that was with Nicole Liberty. Her dad is Craig Liberty from Liberty Transmissions. So they were top mile an hour, 3 out of the 4 rounds on race day, I believe it was. And they're only running 1 system instead of 2. So that Big 9 makes power. So that's really good. And Vince Corey's building their engines. So got to see all those people too. Brandon Snyder, just do a little name dropping because he's my buddy. And Jeff Icard running the 12 degree stuff in the NA class. And a bunch of other guys for sure. Okay, let's go through this week at MBE. Okay, so we got the DMG 100 was down, had electrical issues, so now it's back up and running. So we did get a little behind, but obviously while I was gone, the guys kicked some butt. So this is the small port Big 9 stuff that we do. So we have 3 different versions of, actually we have many different versions. We got 3 or 4 different chambers, 3 different intake ports, 2 different exhaust ports. This is a small port. You can kind of see the openings for a Big Chief style head, how much smaller it is. But if we don't have the application, if we don't have the right the design for the application, then we'll do it for the customer. So this is for a customer out west, and it's lower cubic inch, lower RPM, endurance. So we did the whole cylinder head completely different for him. Now he's got something that works, and that works for his application, not everybody else's. We got a set here. This is an update that's here from Larry Lopes, and his valves arrived from Exo 9. So we are. This thing's all ready to go. We welded these pieces in for Larry because with this type of cylinder head, this is a B1 Dodge. Okay, so came for an update. We picked it up over 50 CFM, so significantly better on the intake side. All the mid-lift numbers are significantly better also. But what we wanted to do for him was, since he's got to order pistons, we wanted to deck the cylinder head and get the chamber smaller so we could get rid of all that dome off the piston. But he couldn't, because on these typical heads it gets very thin here if you deck them. So Larry has been more than patient with us, so we decided to weld these pieces in and everything. Now it will seal, and we'll be able to deck this down probably 60, 80 thousandths, which that is a bunch. He'll be taking probably 10 to 11 cc's off the dome of the piston. And that means a few things. It means flame travel, which is free power. It means a lighter piston, and it makes an overall better engine. So that'll make this thing shine for sure. The A460s, because we're finishing up the valley trays for that. You can see the metals here. It looks like Joey is ready to go tomorrow morning and starting to make those pieces, because he's got the vise in here. Vise is in here. That tells me he's getting ready to make the plates that will hold the valley trays on. Okay, so all the metal is here. It's cut and ready to go. So hopefully he'll be machining those tomorrow, but I would guess if it's not tomorrow, it'll be the next day. And these are billet pieces here for Big 9 manifolds and for the A460s. So we got plenty of inventory of metal. We're not having any issue getting the aluminum. We get most of our aluminum from Hadco, and they have been nothing but great to work with. We got Big 9 manifolds along with Big 9 cylinder heads. More Big 9s to do right here. So we got more sets to do right there. And let's go here, please. So this is pretty cool. This is an NA setup. You can see it has a 5-degree soft chamber in it. That note's on there because that's the last thing that the head will get done to it. So I'm guessing it hasn't had it done. But you can see this is a water set. All this is in here to get water into the cylinder head. and then all these holes intertwined for the water. The water is it's pretty impressive. All the design work that had to go into the water for this. But this is the billet head. You can see all the fasteners on it and everything. This is small block Chevy right here. 500 CFM. This is the new port in it. And then we have Dave Hughes from HRE, his sheet metal intake manifold. Look at these short runners. So yes, these people would like to run high RPM. And this stuff's pretty cool. I believe this is a Braswell. So it's individual. It's individuals, and this stuff's really cool. They can change. You can change it. So you can do testing and all of that with all of this. So when you have pieces like this on here, these are serious race pieces. Something like this at 400 cubic inch, normally aspirated. Depending on the dyno, you're going to make 1140 to 12. You're going to make probably 1170 to 1200. But of course, that's set up with dry sump pump, small ring package, lots of lift, pretty just all out. And then we won't worry about that. We got a set of heads here for update here. So if the customer decides to do it, he will see huge gains. That needs a lot of work. And then these are the valves that we were talking about for Mr. Lopes. The Exodyne valves showed up. So these are really nice pieces. We switched them to a 5/16 stem. That's a CRN coated. The whole valve is CRN coated. The stem, the seat, the head, everything. So that's a nice piece. And of course, I think everyone knows why we coat the valves with the chromium nitride. That way they won't have any wear because of the better seat material that we use with the copper beryllium A25 material. And then we have a set here. This is a set of spec heads right here. Spec big block heads. Not sure exactly what spec they're for, what class. But what they came in here was for, we needed to update the valve job. And then we cleaned up the chambers for them. And then we put a better profile on the intake and exhaust valves because you have to take advantage of whatever you can. So what we could do, and still stay within the rules and be legal, was update the valves, how the back angles are, actually how the whole valve is. And as we get to spec things, they have to run a stainless valve, which is not saving anybody any money because when you have to run a stainless valve, you blow up shit all the time. So it's ridiculous when you're just being penny wise. I don't understand why. Well, it's just ignorance why they do that. But so you can see this has the inch 310 spring stuff on it here. So even with a stainless valve, even though the weight is twice as much as the titanium, 100% more, we can still run this spring. And it will handle it. So, like I say, we put this spring on for anywhere from 600 lift to 930 lift, and that is an endurance application. So you're talking going for miles and miles and miles in your dirt car or whatever it might be. So this is a very long endurance application here. So yeah, so this is pretty nice here. So another way to make more power and make it so it doesn't break. So putting this whole top end package here, all of this will make a huge difference for him, for the engine builder. And then I think that's about what we got, Mr. Biggs. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us, and everyone have a great week. Thank you.